Welcome back to the Chicken Ball Pod. Guys, today this is not going to be your typical boring episode where Mort and Scott and Bennett and Ryan go yap, 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 and I stand here trying to make things entertaining, trying to make things relevant to all of you. Guys, Fabrizio Romano is reporting that Gareth Bale has re-signed with Tottenham. I'm going to skip the introductions, just go, Scott, how are you feeling right now? Knowing this isn't done, but it's feeling pretty good.
Dude, is this real life? I think I've cried, I've laughed, I've celebrated, I have beat more than a substantial bet. Fucking idiot. I've been telling him for months, man. Guy doesn't know anything. He's just don't listen to the dude. I have so many emotions flowing through. If you can't tell, I can't even make sense of what I'm thinking right now. But we're definitely winning the quad. I'll fucking promise you that.
Well, Scott, we guaranteed Bale was going to sign. I think on pod number 2, like I said to you, I said, I am so confident that Gareth Bale is going to sign the Spurs, but all we should be talking about is his haircut and will he adapt back to the Premier League?
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the question, man, is like, does he perform with a top knot the way he performed without a top knot? And that's something that I hope the board and the scouting team did their research on. It's going to be important, but yeah, man, I mean, you know, top knot or not, he's going to be flying off Kane. Sonny's going to be flying off Kane. And yeah, we're immediately the best team in the world, like I said. So it's a very exciting day for us.
Oh, absolutely. This fills every single need possible. Goalkeeping, through the middle, everything. And like Bennett, I'd like to give you a hard time for being a skeptic of Mourinho, but you have to admit you got to be feeling pretty good right now.
Yeah, how can you not really? I know I like the guys that are taking kind of victory laps of like, I mean, Scott, you guys have receipts about calling this. And maybe I could call maybe a little bit of hyperbole back then, but it feels no, never, right? Emotional, really, really emotional. And I know if you guys watch the documentary, that's something that Mourinho really likes to emphasize is the emotion sides of everything. But Bale, man, I mean, I couldn't think I think when I'm kind of coming to terms with this is that like there was kind of this transition from the Bale era and then the emergence of Kane, and you kind of distinguish the two as kind of two different eras. And I was just thinking of that AVB side that Bale left in 2013, and you look at the squad top to bottom now, it's a much stronger squad than it was when he left. And to envision a front three of Kane, Bale, and Son is something that you do on like FIFA or something that you might, hyperbole and dream about. It's like, I can't even articulate really. I mean, I know it's kind of the whole point of this video is to articulate how we're feeling about this, but I can't really. And until I see the shirt, I'm still going to have that like twinge of skepticism about whether or not it's actually going to happen. But yeah, I think a tattoo is in order, guys. I think after all that, a tattoo is in order.
Ooh, I love it.
It's funny you say that. I mean, we don't have the technological capacity to, break to the clip where Mort made a certain guarantee to one Scott about if Gareth Bale signed for Tottenham, not only would he get the Welsh dragon tattooed across his chest, he would also donate $1,000 to the charity of our choosing. So, I mean, that's a topic for a different day, but certainly, we want your input, like which charity is going to get Mort's 1K?
Yep. Hey, great question. I've got some ideas. I will say too, I'm going to get serious for just one brief moment on this entertainment stream, we'll say, but Mort's a douche. Hate the guy. But I love that man because he's a good person, dude. Like straight up, Mort's a fucking good dude. And the fact that he's legitimately willing to do this says a lot about the person that he is. And if you don't know much about Mort, he is well known to continuously donate money to charities across the board. So, as much as I joke and give the dude a hard time, Mort's a fantastic dude, and just all credit to him for this too.
No, you're absolutely right. Like I had said that, on a previous tweet, just along the lines of like, I love Mort's confidence is what I love about him. I also love on the flip side when it completely bites him in the ass, right? Like
no doubt.
Both worlds, and that's what we're here to do right now. And I mean, Bennett, I don't think it's a far stretch to say that the reason Mort is not here is because he's getting that tattoo.
Should be.
That seems to be the only explanation. And I don't want to. I mean, obviously, we all know his personality. I don't want to seem like I'm hazing him by saying that like he should feel obligated to do it. Like I think for all intents and purposes, if he really didn't want to do it, I don't think I'd be pushing him to do it. But makes for good conversation on here, and I think it speaks to the absurd situation that we are in right now. And I don't think I can add. I think Scott was really well said in what he said. So I don't know if I can add anything to that.
No, I mean it's exciting, and Ryan, I'm happy you've joined us. It looks like you're just about to click in there. Can you hear us?
Yep.
So
You
now
guys
the
can hear me, right?
second piece to this, besides the Bale deal, there's another player that seems to be coming Spurs' way. Can you tell us a little bit about him?
Yeah, Reggione, attacking left back for Sevilla last year. Previous year was at Madrid. Believe he was in Madrid's academy for a while as well. But yeah, no, he's definitely more of an attacking beast, fullback. Think he gives us some balance, especially, since we have two attacking right backs at the moment, in the squad and no attacking left backs. So I think it doesn't make us as one-dimensional as it did previously. So I think, adding an attacking fullback like Reggione, I mean, you saw him last year, especially in the semifinals against Manchester United. He just balled out completely. So, again, a very good player. I don't mind that it's 2 years, the 2-year buyback clause at all. I think it doesn't block the pathway for players like Sirkin and Sessegnon for the future. So I think it's a good deal for both parties, and I'm gonna enjoy it while he's here. So.
Well, and sorry, no, go ahead, Bennett. You go first.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Andrew. Oh, there he is. I wanted to add on Reggione that I think that it feels like I'm an opportunistic buy in the same way that Stevie was in January. I don't think 30 million euros for who is perceived to be one of the better fullbacks in La Liga is overpaying. And I think from what I saw from him, he seems really well at identifying either underlapping or overlapping runs. I know we don't want to get too tactical, but I just wanted to point out that I felt like I really liked the fit with Son, who was equally adept at being like hugging the touchline or cutting in from the left. And I think I really like the potential there. My only question, I think, is what Ryan might have been alluding to, is that he is more adaptable to like a high pressing, kind of more possession-based side. And I know we want diversity within the squad, but that certainly doesn't match up with how we're playing right now. But maybe that signals a change in style. I just haven't really seen it yet. But he seems really exciting, and I think it smells of that Stevie Bergwijn bought in January to me, for sure.
Joe.
Mort, I don't know if you're mute, but just we can't bypass the topic. I mean, before you were here, we were just saying you were in the process of getting your tattoo sourced. Good options, I'm sure, in Wisconsin. Besides that, we were only saying these things about we want to get your reaction on the news that it sounds like Gareth Bale is on his way back to Spurs.
Listen, first of all, fuck Bennett, because I am sitting here joining this call and he's already talking shit about one of the most exciting fullbacks in all of Europe. That's kind of what I expect from him. So it's like nothing has changed. Oh, it's an opportunistic. Fuck you, it's not an opportunistic buy. It's a great fucking buy. And just so you know, that asymmetrical fullback bullshit was played for a very specific reason. Those reasons are no longer here. Serge, bad at defending. We have Doherty, who's good at defending. Davies, not athletic at all. Now, we got a new left back who's very athletic. So Artie, fuck you. Gareth Bale, he's coming home, baby.
Well, and you raise a good point, right? About Ben Davies and athletic. Post Everton game, we're not going to talk a lot about it because really, who gives a at this point? But with that signing coming in and Davies' response to Mourinho about the players being lazy, talk shit. Now all of a sudden we've got Reggione coming in, and that guy is athletic.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is – I don't think it was that specific performance, although I will say in that specific match, I think we're seeing that asymmetrical formation go away anyway, right? Because Davies was just as high as like Doherty was from average position. So I think this I think you were seeing the plan unfold, right? Like we were just bitching about not having energy, not playing with desire. You have now brought in a guy who has just come off winning a trophy. He won the trophy on loan. So it takes a lot of energy for a player that like that to come on and kind of perform over and over again for a club that's not even his own, right? So I think a lot of this kind of goes back to that, is changing the mantra of the team, change the mentality of the team. So I think Davies just kind of had a poor performance. I would still take him as a backup all day. As a matter of fact, I think we could do a lot worse than having a Welsh international playing, like League Cup, FA Cup matches for us, right? So I think he still has a lot to offer to the team, and I'm excited that he's a part of it. And it's just fucking amazing that we finally have depth at fullback. Like, that's, you got fucking Ryan over here already trying to sell it. It's like we buy this depth and Ryan wants to sell our depth. So now we have 2 starting fullbacks. We have 2 backup fullbacks. Then we have a guy who can play on either side. This may be the deepest we have been at fullback that I can remember.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And Ryan, wanted to pivot to you, just talk a little about, the transfer strategy as a whole. A couple of days ago, Mort hit the nail on the head when he's saying, like, it felt like we had no plan. It's just like, well, who's going down the list? Who's a striker in the world that maybe would come cheap? But where do you see now with the final few weeks, if these deals, which we assume they will, get across the line, what happens next?
I mean, your guess is as good as mine. I think, after Sunday, Reggione and Bale, I mean, that's pretty, like Mort was saying in our group chat, it's pretty unlevy-like. I mean, those are 2 aggressive signings, and interning a buyback clause, that's the reason why we've never done real business with Barcelona and any of their players. It's because they always want a buyback clause, and I guess it just depended on the position player and what we had available there for the future. But nonetheless, I have no clue where we're going after this. Obviously, striker and center back has been rumored. I think it really just matters who's going to become available in the next couple of weeks, because this window is starting to close, and I think some teams and some clubs are hurting a little bit financially, and I think they're going to get to the end of this window, and they're going to start to make players more available. Like Mort and I were talking this morning, I mean, there's been a rumor that Max Aarons is available now. So now it's almost like, all right, well, do you sell Aurier for 18 to 20 if you could find a buyer and replace him with Aarons? I mean, it's a perfect opportunity to, because you have Doherty, who is an experienced fullback, international. He's played Europa. He knows the Premier League, obviously. So, and Max Aarons, baptism by fire last year with Norwich. So, I think he's good depth there too. So, I mean, that is transfer strategy right there. We talked a little bit about it last week. That would be showing us, something there. Like, obviously, we have a strategy and we're executing it. So, let's see if we go and do it. I mean, that's like the hopeful strategy that we're all working towards right there. But who knows? Who knows what we're gonna do, really?
Yeah, and honestly, like, you look at what we're doing now. We can. I'm just gonna say we can assume Bale and I don't know this left back. I'm not gonna act like I can pronounce his name. Seems like he's awesome. These 2 guys are done though, right? So
We're gonna call him Reggie.
Reggie. I do know a Reggie with a similar last name, so that's fine with me, but we'll go with Reggie. So we've got Reggie and Bale done, right? You look at what we did last summer, that time with moving into the stadium, like, I don't think we've ever broken path. Like, I think that, I don't know. I feel like this is going as well as we expected it to, and we're very reactionary as a fan base right now, and that's strictly because we're now at a new level that we've never been at. We are, little fish in this new pond full of big fish, and it's going to affect what we're doing. Like, we have to have patience. We have to trust the process, and obviously we should, because we just fucking signed Gareth Bale, right? Like,
yeah.
Our front 3 is Son, Bale, and Kane. Not a better front 3 in the Premier League, and no one can argue that.
No, we don't even need defenders to do stuff like that.
We don't need a keeper.
I want to get to a couple of the fan questions. I mean, I think you're going to be as shocked as we are that we have fans asking questions, first of all. But, Bennett, I wanted to ask you a question that we had from Big White Hard Lane on the Reggie side, and Reggione, however you want to say it. I mean, obviously he has to get up to speed, but let's say within the next, 3 to 4 weeks, does he instantly replace Ben Davies?
Depends on how we want to play. I don't know if I completely agree with Mort in that the asymmetrical fullback thing is going to be completely absolved now. We can argue that maybe Mourinho hasn't had the tools at his disposal that he would want yet, but there hasn't really been any indication about a drastic style of change yet. But he definitely is stark contrast to what Davies can offer. And if you're playing him and Doherty at the same time, you'd assume that those guys are both much better being further positioned upfield. I know Reggione, at least from the clips that I saw, specifically most recently in the Europa League, he does a lot of his defending proactively up the field more. And then maybe if he's setting up deeper, you're not getting the best out of him that way, which is a large part of what Davies is doing, and a large part why Rose never got into the squad, because he was forced to play deeper in that role. So if we are having Doherty and Reggione both as further advanced, maybe you can entertain the idea of a 3-back. I'm not really sure. But as far as replacing Davies, it would depend on how we play. And there hasn't been that much of indication. I don't know if you even want to talk about Everton, but I didn't think that performance was much different than Project Restart, which means that we're really opportunistic because of the high level of attackers that we have. And we become kind of dependent on their really good conversion rates. And then the onus is to score first most of the time. And if we're having to play from behind and to kind of get pulled out of that block, we struggle a little bit. But hypothetically, Reggione gives you a lot more options. But I think it depends on how we're gonna play. Because if we continue to do the asymmetrical stuff, then I could see Davies staying in that position a little bit further, just because he's naturally better suited to that.
Yeah, no, I think that's like you said, it gives flexibility, right? Like that's
what we want. Yeah.
I said that a couple of years ago. I said I liked Kieran Trippier and Ben Davies just fine when they were backups to Danny Rose and Kyle Walker. Then, with a lot of our starters, it was asking too much of them. We don't need to get into a lot of those guys at this point in time, but we needed signings like this.
Yeah, and
us expected signing.
Yeah, and like Davies, I don't know why the hate on Davies actually with the comments too, because in the doc he came off as very pro Mourinho. He talked a lot about how he wants to be able to win dirty and not maybe play the prettiest brand of football. Like he very much bought into those, maybe just for the cameras, but he was definitely buying into that Mourinho winning mentality of winning dirty and all that jazz. So I'd be hard pressed to see if Davies was completely isolated from the squad all of a sudden.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's exactly right. And so Mort, again, Bennett references, the restart, the stumbling squad. We kind of bypassed the game against Everton. We all know how it went. It was shit. We created nothing in the second half. It was garbage. So does Bale coming in up to speed and fit? Does he transform a stumbling squad?
First of all, we're not a stumbling squad. So all you fucking
wrote the question.
Listen, that's the question, but I'm disagreeing with the premise.
It's right here.
I'm disagreeing with the premise of the question. This, fucking Big White Hart Lane that's just like Bennett's, alter ego, fucking negative Nancy over here. We're not a stumbling squad. We finished the season in top four form. We had a poor match. So I think first and foremost, you have to acknowledge I'm still happy with this squad. Like, had the window shut and the only players we signed would have been, like Doherty and Højbjerg. I mean, it wouldn't have been a great window, but it wouldn't have been like an F window. I was still happy with the squad. Right? So for me, we're not stumbling, but to the essence of the question, yeah. You bring in a 4-time Champions League winner. You bring in a Premier League Player of the Year. You bring in a guy who's won God knows how many trophies. I've lost count. I mean, he's probably won at least like double-digit trophies since he left. You have that transform your squad. That's what winners do. You introduce winners. They have a winning mentality. They don't believe in losing. They don't believe in being down 1 goal. Those things don't matter to them. They just go out and win. And the thing you have to look at right away is James. Watch how James played against us. He did not give a fuck that we were Tottenham. He was out there to beat us. He didn't care if he was playing for Everton. He was just out there putting balls on a dime because he has that winning mentality. And I think you're going to see that with Gareth Bale once he gets up to speed. My only concern with him is he injured? Is he going to be able to be up and running? I watched some clips, for him, like playing from Wales. He looks fine, but you bring a guy like that, he's going to absolutely kill it for you. So we're not stumbling. But I think bringing a guy like the Welsh Dragon, you immediately up the whole squad. Like the whole squad's elevated. Scotty, what do you think?
Dude, we now have 4 national team captains, right? I assume Bale captains Wales from time to time, right? So
it's not Ben Davies.
Yeah, so you look at that. This is fictional, but like I'm just envisioning Hugo, Kane, Sonny, and Gareth Bale sitting down for the initial meeting and saying, like, how the fuck do we start winning now? And Gareth Bale, like you said, 4 Champions Leagues, La Ligas, Club World Cup. The dude is as decorated a player as we've ever had. Like, not even fucking close, right? Like, this is a type of signing. People are like, he might be washed up. Is it the same Gareth Bale? It doesn't fucking matter, dude. Like, this guy is a purebred world-class winner, man. And we are desperate for that. Like, Kane needs to learn how to be that person. Gareth Bale can teach him that. They have rapport. They've played together before. Like, this is so substantial in so many ways. I mean, obviously, right?
Well, and so, question back to you then, and again, we all have a recency bias. Is this the biggest signing that you can remember in the modern era for Spurs?
Hands down, man. No question about it. I mean, we were all jazzed about Tanguy last year.
Yeah.
That's great, but like this is a whole different thing, man. Like, this is easily the biggest signing Spurs have ever conducted in the history of the club.
Scott, are you concerned that he's going to block the path for Jack Clark?
Yeah, man, whatever. Bielsa can take Jack Clark. I don't care. I love you, Jack Clark, but I don't care at this point, man. Just get Gareth Bale involved.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Now, we do have a match tomorrow that obviously Gareth Bale will not be playing in, clearly because he hasn't actually signed yet based on the media reports. But, going over to you, Bennett, the match tomorrow. Is it Bulgaria, Romania? We're playing Plovdiv in a qualifying game, 1-game knockout, relatively strong squad sent, a few first-teamers not sent. What are your thoughts going into that?
Yeah, it's Bulgaria, and I'm a little scared, honestly. Not that I'm not confident that we can't win, but I think it's just the fact that it's a one-off. You can't really predict that. I probably expect to be pretty strong, honestly. I mean, I know we've already kind of confirmed that Toby and Deli, Tanguy are probably not going to be there, and Tanganga too. The latter two for injury. I expect it to be a pretty strong lineup, to be honest. I'm not seeing the likes of Harvey White or Dennis Irkin starting. Maybe they travel. I would actually think that they probably don't. There's not really much to predict with it, really. I know nothing about this Locomotive team. I just know that we're probably going to be seeing, I think, a pretty strong lineup. And then I saw Mourinho have some comments about he's planning to start Kane, not only for this match, but for Southampton and then whatever Europa League, assuming we make it next week too. So I think it's going to be stronger than people are going to think. There might be, even if it's still 4 changes from Everton, I still think we're going to be putting a pretty strong lineup out. But I can't really give like a scouting report on this team. I know nothing about them.
You don't know about Plovdiv?
Unfortunately not, no.
Okay.
Except the chairman likes to talk shit, apparently. I
yeah,
saw
he does.
that.
Yeah, I did hear that.
That's all I got.
That was fun. Ryan, I want to ask you a question. Again, we got from Big White Hart Lane. Andrea Bellotti from Serie A. I don't know a lot about him. I know that there was a rumored £50 million bid or euro bid that was declined. Can you tell us a little bit about him? Is this a realistic thing? Is this just kind of a media story?
Honestly, not too sure. I believe it was the Marzio that reported the initial interest in the bid. So, I mean, a decent source there. So Bellotti is, he's kind of fallen off a little bit, I guess, in terms of production the last couple of years. I think he was really, really hot, like 2016, 17, just scoring screamers and everything else in the world. But I believe he's going to be 27 now, so he's getting to that age, and Torino's kind of, as a club, is kind of on the downturn. Serie A, they're kind of dipping a little bit. So I think they're ready to sell, but the fact that they didn't accept apparently a $50 million bid maybe tells you otherwise. But, I mean, it would be a great sign. I don't know how it would work with Kane. I don't know if he would play alongside Kane, because I don't think he would come in, to our club and back up Kane. He wants that striker role for the Italian national team, probably going into the Euros next year. So I don't think, he wouldn't want guaranteed time. So maybe that's another reason why the move was rejected, besides the bid. But no, it would be a massive coup if we could get him. But I don't know how it would work. I think we would have to play 2 strikers if Bellotti was to come in. He's that good.
Yeah, he's the most natural person to come in and compete with Kane immediately. And again, he'll compete with Kane. He won't oust Kane. He probably understands that. Like, it's irritating to people, but I think there's honest to God truth to the fact that Kane blocks us from getting a legitimate second striker at times. Like, you have to consider that somebody knows they're up against the world if they're in that position, and like, do I want to put myself in that position? Probably not. And that's why Mourinho said, if I'm signing somebody, I'm signing somebody who says, I don't give a fuck. Like, it's Harry Kane, no problem. Like, I'm coming in and taking the dude's head off. Like, I don't know who that is. Dude, does anyone?
I was going to say, I think it's an interesting question for Mort. So Mort, big Green Bay Packers fan. Aaron Rodgers' replacement gets drafted last year, and so everybody writes the dude off. What does he do? He comes out throwing for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. Where I'm going with this is, does Kane have that kind of attitude? If we bring in a guy who legit is like world class, or maybe a level below world class, does Kane get pissed off, or does he just turn around and do what Rodgers does and say, "Fuck you, I'm going to blow the world out"?
I think Kane's probably more of a kicker, so I think you gotta, maybe look at like a Kowalski comparison or something. No, I mean, listen, Kane's a competitor, and we know that. We knew that before the documentary. We know that after. We know that by watching him play on the pitch. The last time he had real competition, I think it was Soldado, and who the fuck knows what happened to Soldado, right? So I believe getting competition for Kane is great. Troy Parrott was not Kane's competition ever. I think it's okay to push Harry Kane. I think if we want to be the team that we want to be, we need to start pushing players like Harry Kane, not to replace him by any means, but to make sure he knows there's competition. More importantly, to put him on a snap count. The guy can't play 60 matches a year, even for the sake of his physical health. I mean, the guy's, he's a father, right? So let's at least save his daughters, right? Like, give the man some rest. And I think at the minimum, you need to bring in someone behind him that can not only push him, but when Kane is not playing, our level doesn't drop that far off, right? I think when you look at some of the better clubs like City, they've got Aguero, and then they've got, they've got Jesus. So, their level doesn't necessarily drop off. Even fucking Arsenal, right? They can go with Lacazette or they can go with Aubameyang, like up top, and like the list goes on and on and on. So I think we need to be at that level. I think depth-wise, guys, if you really kind of step back, we've got great depth. I mean, maybe like, maybe like DM, we're still not quite there because we really only have, like one recognized DM. But besides that, like strikers are our worst position as far as depth. Everything else has some caliber of depth. So, yeah, I think we need to get someone in right away. But I think Gostowski's, he's past it, right? Like, he's just not the kind of player he used to be. So.
I don't think the problem is depth, and I agree with more at that level. But then if you got these assets that we've invested a lot of money into, Sessegnon probably doesn't fit that mold anymore because of Reggione, but I'm thinking of Bergwijn, and I'm thinking of Tanguy Ndombele, and people complain about the lack of investment in the squad. I think I would defend Levy at that level, and that there has been investment in the squad. But then if you have guys like Lucas, because he runs a lot and covers a lot of ground, even though he's completely inept at creating any kind of efficient attacking chances, and you have somebody like Bergwijn sitting behind him, that's when you start to ask questions about, we do have this depth, but are these guys that we've invested capital into, are they going to be getting runouts consistently to be able to see what we can have out of them? Or is the pragmatic approach where we can't put guys in that we can't trust wholeheartedly, does that prevent or block people from being able to develop? I think that's the question.
Yeah, but I think you have to look at that one layer further, Bennett. It's not just enough to say that, hey, Lucas plays for 75 minutes, he looks like shit. Stevie plays for 15, he's great. Remember that they're training all week. There are things that the staff are seeing, the coaches are seeing that we don't get to see. There's one or two things, right? Either you think that Mourinho is a dumbass and he doesn't know how to pick the right players, which is kind of what I expect you to think. But those of us who are intelligent, who understand the sport, don't think like that, right, bro? Like, we're like, Jose Mourinho knows what he's doing. So if he's picking Lucas, there's a reason. It could be tactical. It could be attitude in training. It could be ability to run at that pace for 90 minutes. There's a plethora of reasons why one of the greatest managers of all time is making that selection. So I think you have to look at it beyond just, are our capital investments going by the wayside? Are we not getting like the return we want on them? But I think to your point, here's the thing, man. We are going to be forced into substantial rotation this season.
Yep.
And I think the point you made earlier was phenomenal around what happens against Plovdiv. Again, I don't know why I get all the difficult questions around like Aaron Rodgers, and all you have to do is like look up a scouting report on Plovdiv, and you can't even fucking do that. But to your point, right? Like right away at Plovdiv, we know we've left 8 senior players behind. We automatically know there's going to be rotation. So you're 100% right. I think at the minimum, we're going to see the output of what it means to have rotated, capitalized players. So let's see how good Bergwijn can be when he's playing the full 90. Let's see how good Sessegnon can be when he's playing the full 90. There's a reason those guys aren't getting that in, like on the Premier League side.
And I don't want to interject one more time, but I think I can meet you halfway more at least, because I would think of a counterexample of what I just said about like Serge Aurier. We invested a lot of capital in him. And I think to a fault, he was playing a lot when we had somebody like Kyle Walker-Peters, who you could see some potential in. He couldn't get any kind of game time. And I think it was partially because we had invested all this capital in Aurier and we felt like we had to play him. So I could see both sides of it, but just wanted to add that.
No, that's a fair point. I'm pretty confident that Andrew texted you that so you could say that out loud so you don't get burnt on this pod.
You did notice I've been looking at my phone a lot.
That's it.
Mostly looking for any further updates. Nothing has changed, although I guess it is 42 UK time right now, so there's probably not going to be a lot coming down. As we kind of start to wrap this up here, guys. Bring again, just you kind of like your closing thoughts here, and Mort, maybe I'll start with you here, and just wondering. I mean, like, if Scott and I are the oracle for guaranteeing that Gareth Bale is going to resign, and you and I are the truth because we always supported the move for Jose Mourinho and what he's going to do. For people who are Levy out, Jose out, like, can they be allowed back into the Spurs kingdom, and should they be?
No, fuck no. And I'm going to start right away with this pod. The moment Bale signs, Bennett's gone, right? Like, we don't need any of that negative attitude. We don't need that fucking energy in this fan club, right? Like, Ryan, you're on edge, bro. I don't know why you're smirking over there. Like, you were right on edge with all your negativity. I think
I got an update on Bale.
As I was saying last week, I think our fan base is just negative. But I think, like, here's the thing, guys. It's going to be fun, right? Like, there's a level of fun. There's a level of energy back. We haven't felt like this in a while. Things are not even finalized yet, but I think the energy is palatable. I mean, I am fully convinced now that Bale is coming. I only started feeling like this just a couple days ago when I started seeing the people that were linking us to him, right? We get linked to him every single window. This is nothing new. But the reason there's real excitement is the types of people that are linking. So something is going on there. This is real, unlike the Dybala thing. That was never real, but this is actually going to happen. So I'm pretty excited about that. But I think for all the people that were Levy out, Jose out, go fuck yourself, man. Like, go find a different club. This has been shut down for you. This fun is ours now. More fun, less people. Go support somebody else because we don't need that shit no more.
Yeah. So Ryan, I'm gonna pivot to you now. For your final thoughts. I think you said you had an update as well on your rebuttal here.
Yeah. So Sky Sports just put out a tweet and says Tottenham are now close to agreeing a deal to sign Gareth Bale on loan from Real Madrid, with Spurs to pay around 20 million pounds in wages and loan fees. So I think that's going to be you're probably looking at his $13 million salary and then like $7 million loan fee. But I will change.
So it's a loan, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's a one. I don't know if it's a 1 year or 2 year loan.
I mean, like, I just want to clarify what happened with the bet. Like, the bet was based on us signing him, not loaning him. Everybody.
Oh my god.
Everybody.
I've got the contract.
There we go.
The contract written down.
Listen to the audio.
Right here.
Listen. Wait. You guys are all confused about this. Go listen to the audio. That's what I said. If we sign him, if we loan him, fuck is that? They can fucking loan me.
Loan sign.
It's some Mourinho tactics right there.
It's totally optional if you don't want to get the words "Land of Our Fathers" tattooed.
Dude, honestly, man, like, whether or not you actually do that, like, we know, we talked about this before you're on, like, we know you're a dude who regularly is involved in charities, and you're a good dude. Do what you need to do, man. I'm not gonna be an asshole about it. Gareth Bale's back at the club. Like, we're both fucking happy people. I mean, right there, So it's an exciting day, man. And I think also, like, I just have to say, like, this is obvious, but, like, look at our lineup now. Like, if we get Tanguy firing, right? We've got Højbjerg, Tanguy, Lo Celso in the midfield. We've got Kane, Son, Bale up top. We've got our fullbacks sorted. We've got 3 solid center backs. Like, this is just such a pivotal moment in the club's history. Like, I swear it is. And think about this. Like, people slating Levy, we're about to spend, like, how many millions of dollars with absolutely 0% chance of a return on investment. Like, we're just shelling out money to win titles at this point. So, like, this is a signing that will finally shut these poor motherfuckers up, dude. Like, God, it's just it's abysmal what I've seen on Twitter from some people, and like finally, like you said, Andrew, you can either stop or you can leave and go support another club. I'm happy either way. Like it's fine, you know.
Yeah.
But this is the moment for Tottenham. I mean it.
Bennett, I want to make sure you get your moment, moment here to rebuttal. What are your final closing thoughts?
Bale's back, baby. That's all I gotta say.
Fair enough. I mean, as a Welsh descendant and obviously a big Bale fan, we left in 2013. It was a big deal. I mean, all I can say is we have finally after 7 years replaced Gareth Bale with Bale. It's the
Nice.
only way that we could do that, and it's
Nice.
we might be the best team the universe has ever seen. I don't top that. I mean, this might have been our best show, which I know is a low bar. I'm not saying it's not, but get this out. I mean, we're going to look real dumb if this all falls through, but we're still going to post it because that's the type of show that we are. For Scott, for Ryan, for Mort, I'm Andrew. This is going to happen, guys. A lot of good energy. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Right on.